finally we have been able to meet each other, and we are staying there for quite some time. I'll be back in India only on the 18th of July, so I have enough time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you have the opportunity to come by France, do not hesitate to visit us. We are not far away from Paris.
Yeah, I know that. In fact, I was not so far from Paris, in the city of Dusseldorf, where we had this exhibition Wire and Tube. So I was there with my son during the exhibition, because that would have been more convenient from Dusseldorf. The border with France is not far off.
Yeah.
Here, so to say, I'm close.
Next time, do not hesitate to come and visit us. You're welcome.
Otherwise, all okay. Okay, Ankit, can we get started? Or
yeah, we can. But our first speaker, Mr. Malan, has not joined yet. So should we wait for him for a couple of minutes?
Okay. So, Pradipto, if you could just check with Mr. Pankaj Malan whether he is ready, then we can start.
Or maybe we can begin with the introduction.
Yes, but let me just check.
He's there in the attendees. I'll just promote him to the panel.
Okay, just promote him.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we can get started now.
Mr. Malan, with your kind permission, can we get started? I think you're muted. We can't hear you. Are you muted?
Not muted from Zoom, but maybe from the computer. No, we can't hear you still.
But I can't see that you are muted. You're not muted.
Yeah.
So what could perhaps be wrong? No. Can you try and increase the volume? Maybe your volume is low, because we can't hear you at all.
So, Mr. Malan, if you click on the microphone icon, next to the microphone icon, there is a small arrow. If you click on that arrow, you will see an option of select a microphone. Maybe there, if you select same as system, or if any of the devices are connected, you can select a microphone from there.
Good afternoon, Puksab. Can you hear us?
Yes, good afternoon. Namaskar, Nirmalyada.
Namaskar.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you and your team also.
Yeah, my son is also here on the. You can see him on the screen. So
Ankit.
Both of us are.
Yeah, Ankit, good to see you as well.
Hi, Ankit. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
So Ankit is with me. I am staying with Ankit right now in Munich.
I know.
Staying with him.
You send me a mail. You will be in Europe, and my brother's daughter and son-in-law are in Munich also.
Oh, great.
Yeah, they are in Munich. They studied. They're working there. Yeah.
Okay, great. In fact, our honorable Prime Minister was also here a couple of days ago.
I know for G7. For G7 he was there. Yeah. Good.
So Mr. Malan, can you just try once again to see what could have perhaps may I request you one thing? Can you just log out and log in again if that works? Puksa will start in 2 minutes. I'm just waiting for Mr. Malan
No
to.
problem. No problem. Take your own time. Take your own time.
No. We are ready. We are ready. We are just waiting for him.
Good.
Yeah.
You're coming to the Nagpur conference 25, 26, 27 July. Nagpur.
I will,
galvanizing will be in focus.
I know. But I will be back on 19th in Delhi. Then 19th evening I'm in Kolkata. So
Right.
even if I am not there, I'll try and see whom I can send.
I know. You always send somebody or the other. I know.
Yeah. But I'll try my best to see if I can make it. That is the best.
It's a big congregation. It's a big congregation.
Yes. And in the meantime, I will also keep promoting the event from here, whatever way I can. And
I'll be very happy.
I have told Pradipta and my team also to ensure that the regular posts go on social media to promote.
They are doing it. Even if you are not in the country, they are doing it.
Yes, they are. And plus, with all your blessings, Puksa, over all these years, last 25, more than 25, I would say, because with my earlier stint, a few more years to add. So more than 25 years, I have been getting your blessings. I've been really fortunate to get your blessings from the last 25 years, and that has helped me go a long way. So
you are a steel media man.
Yes, so with your, my job is just to ensure that I bring everyone on a platform together.
I agree.
Yes, Malan
I agree.
Am I audible now?
Absolutely clear.
Yes, you
loud
are.
and clear. Loud and clear. All well. Perfect. So, Ankit, Pukta will get started. Mr. Kambos, Gansap will get started right away. So, Ankit, it's over to you.
So good afternoon and a warm welcome to all the panelists and the attendees, and as well as everyone watching on our live stream on YouTube. So we would like to welcome you to our 46th webinar titled Market and Applications for Cold Rolling, Galvanizing and Coated Products, organized by Steel and Metallurgy. A warm welcome to our gold sponsors, JSW Coated Products and NovaCell, and our silver sponsors, Maxis Motion. I will now introduce our panelists. First panelist for today, Mr. Pankaj Malan. He's the Executive Vice President, JSW Coated Products Business. Then we have Mr. Pascal Cambos. He's the Sales Excellence and Marketing Project NovaCell. Mr. L. Pugasenti, Executive Director, India-led Zinc Development Association and past President of the Indian Institute of Metals. Mr. Harshinder Garg, Head of Marketing, Tata Steelium and Galvano Branded Products and Retail, Tata Steel Limited. And then we have Mr. Mithaleshwar Yadav. He is the General Manager, Sales, Cold Mills and Strip Processing Lines, Danieli India Limited. So these are our panelists for today. Before we proceed, I will just share a few short guidelines for platform management. For all the attendees who have joined us on Zoom to listen to the discussion today, we have a Q&A section in Zoom, which can be accessed by both the panelists and the attendees alike. So I will request everyone to post your questions in the Q&A section, and it will be visible to all the panelists who can then choose to either answer it live or directly in the chat. I would request all the panelists to keep their microphones muted when the other panelists are speaking to avoid any kind of noise feedback. And last but not the least, I would request all panelists to adhere to the time limit as given in the program, just so to avoid any delays. Today's webinar will be moderated by my father, Mr. Nimalya Mukherjee. So on behalf of Steel and Metallurgy and our sponsors, I would like to welcome you all to this webinar. We will now have the national anthem, followed by which we will display a few corporate videos by our sponsors. So I request you all to please rise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल उत्कलवङ्गा विन्ध्य हिमाचल यमुना गङ्गा उच्चल जलधितरङ्गा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Now we will have our corporate video discussion session. So our first video for today is by JSW Color on Plus.
सुरक्षा हर पिच पर, ताकत लंबी पार खेलने की, परफेक्ट फिट, क्वालिटी टेस्ट, मैच से पहले ये सारे चेक्स बहुत जरूरी होते हैं, ठीक वैसे जैसे घर की छत चूज करते समय। तो बस ले आइए JSW कलर ऑन प्लस की छत, जो दे आपके घर को मजबूती और सुरक्षा। JSW कलर ऑन प्लस, सुंदर छत सालों साल।
Next we have a video by Novacell. And finally, our last corporate video for today is by Maxis Motion. So I would like to once again thank all our sponsors for supporting our webinar today. And without further ado, I would like to request our moderator to take the session forward. You have to unmute.
Yeah, fine. Yeah. Very good afternoon to everyone. And a warm welcome to my good friend, Mithleshwar Yadav, who's just joined in. Mithleshwar, a warm welcome to you as well. And warm welcome to Mr. Pascal Cambos. Welcome to Mr. Pugazanti, Mr. Garg, and of course, our keynote speaker for today, Mr. Pankaj Malhan, whom I'm sure all of you know. He was earlier the CEO of ESL Steels Limited, Electrical Steels Limited. So he's right now, the executive vice president of JSW Coated Products business. Someone who has immense knowledge on the entire steel portfolio. You call it whether it's from the flat segment or long segment or the coated product segment. Mr. Malhan has immense knowledge, and we have the legacy of Tata Steel, which will be highlighted today by none other than Mr. Harshender Garg. And Mithleshwar Yadav, my good friend from Daneli, will highlight the portfolio. And Mr. Cambos is the one who's like the mother in the family, because the job of the mother is to protect the family. In the same way, Novocell film protects our products. It's a film which is used as a coating to protect the coated products, the galvanized products, the color coated products. So Mr. Cambos, whom I know from previous webinars also, and whom I've interacted with in the past as well. So he will also address us today. So without further ado, the latest issue being the imposition of export duty is a matter of concern for all of us. In fact, I think yesterday morning from Indian Steel Association, there was an official release which Mr. Alok Sahai had posted that it's a challenge for all of us if this continues. So I'm sure Mr. Pankaj Malhan would also highlight the challenges that we have in view of the export duty being imposed, because quite a few of the coated products, though they may not be huge in quantity, but in terms of numbers, it's quite a number which go into countries like Italy, which are exported in small quantity to various countries. And as we all know, the coated product business is a niche segment where even if the quality, the quantity may be low, counts a lot in adding value to our entire value chain. So with that, without further ado, I would request Mr. Pankaj Malhan to address us and highlight the issues which we are facing as of today and how effectively we need to address them. Over to you, Mr. Malhan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nirmale Mukherjee. I think, first of all, thank you very much for having me on this panel and this session. Very apt subject and at a very right time too. I think when I was going through the topic of this webinar, markets and application for cold rolling, galvanizing and coated product, I don't think there could have been an apt time like this to share my thoughts on this. What a wonderful year we had in FY22. India as a nation had almost a demand level close to 120 million tons of steel. Huge. And this was coming up from 94 million tons that we saw in the previous financial year. So which takes us to a very comfortable number 2 position in the map of the world. But having said that, 120 million tons, an export level close to 18.5 million tons, there are strong opportunities which the country is pursuing, both in terms of increasing the demand of steel products in the country. 2, making sure that whatever is being produced in the country that's more cost effective. 3, making sure that we compete with the best of the technologies and products in the world. So there is a lot of impetus which Government of India is actually giving. To just highlight one of the impetus is a PLI scheme which Government of India has brought in. And I must thank Government of India and especially PM Shri Narendra Modi to bring in this handsome scheme of PLI in the industry. So there is a scheme which is talking about close to incentive scheme close to 6,500 crore rupees, which may actually call for an investment of around 40,000 crores, which is close to $6 billion. And it is going to be getting incentivized and largely coming up onto the value-added products where the coated market lies. Be it tin, be it galvanizing, galvalume, be it color coating. So all these products are getting covered under PLI scheme. I think this is going to be a strong push from Government of India, and which was a very welcome move, which all of us in the industry were looking forward to. Of course, there have been some iterations. This PLI scheme is yet to hit the ground, but I'm very hopeful with the next revision, we would be seeing the day of the light. Having said that, I think we all know we had a wonderful year all across the globe in FY22 in terms of both demand and prices. And everything was going all well till the time we had this black swan event, which was Russia-Ukraine war, which stuck. There was, in anticipation, a lot of demand which just shot up in a small while, and the prices also went up tremendously high. While that may have created some kind of inflationary pressures in the globe itself, and many of the countries right now actually hovering through inflationary measures. Of course, people are also talking about some kind of recessions, but we need to wait and see what exactly is going to be coming out in terms of recession. Now, to counter that kind of inflationary measures, Government of India announced a step going forward to control inflation. Of course, there have been many steps which Government of India has announced, but one of the steps which was announced, which impacted the entire steel industry in the country, was imposition of export duties on a lot of steel products. And this export duty to the tune of 15% was brought in. Of course, there were a lot of benefits which were also offered by Government of India in terms of imports of coking coal, thermal coal, and even other things. Of course, to prevent the cost to jack up for the steel producers, there was some kind of export duties which were also brought in for iron ore and pellets. Having said that, I think the timing may have been right from an inflationary perspective, which the Government of India is actually trying to tame right now, and there have been some early successes too. But it was done in a very, very strong and haphazard manner. That would be my personal views, which brought a lot of steel producers in the country all of a sudden in the thought process what to do next. So there was a lot of export consignments lying up, and to my knowledge, what it goes, India was either holding close to either a firm orders or an expected or potential orders to the level of 3 million tons of steel products all across the various categories, which came under a strong threat. While that was one thing which government would have taken into cognizance, and now I understand government is going to be cognizant of some of the efforts on the firm orders which the steel manufacturers were holding on to. There would be some relaxations coming up. But having said that, value-added product is something as a entire gamut of things. In terms of coated specifically, if you was to speak, India got an installed capacity close to 12.5 to 13 million tons. While the demand of these coated products in the country were close to 9 plus minus 0.2 million tons, and that's what we have seen in the last financial year. So 9 million tons coming as a demand for CRCA, tin plate, GIGL, and color-coated products, and the new one which is now added to the kitty is ZAM, zinc, aluminum, and magnesium coatings, which the country right now is largely importing, and we import close to 100,000 tons of that product. So there is great opportunity, number one, in the country. When I actually look into the per capita consumption of coated products in the country, it boils close to 7 kilos per capita consumption, which by any international standards is quite low. Even if I go by the world standards, this over close to 13 kilos. There is a headroom for the country to actually double this kind of, I would suspect. While there's a lot which is being done in this space, but the newer technologies, typically we know we introduced galvanum in the country in a stronger way. Of course, it was existing towards late 90s, but in a greater push came close to 2005, 2006 level basis. And now India is one of the leading producers of galvanum products in the country. I think there was a strong headroom to go to the next level, and which is a magnesium added coating, which needs to come up onto this. India been importing, and a lot of companies all across the globe been making those products. But of course, India is now a ripe market with the solar intensity going up in the country and huge plans of Government of India again. If I was to speak about the very aspirational plans of Government of India in solar, which talks about 450 gigawatts of renewable energy to be implemented in the country by 2030, 280 gigawatts is only expected out of solar. And we all know close to 22 tons of coated steel gets into for a megawatt of solar power, which is huge. And the country right now stands at close to 90 gigawatts of solar power, which means close to 200 gigawatts of solar, which is going to get added in the country in next 8 to 9 years, which calls for a demand of 4 million tons of coated in only galvanum products or the ZAM products, which we are talking about, which is going to be really strong and going great in terms of only one, which is. So this means there is huge decision points which would be coming up from our newer technologies, which are going to be strongly cost effective. And of course, they should be energy intense, saving or energy efficient technologies too. There's a lot which the companies and the technology suppliers are right now talking about. And there is a stronger need for the steel manufacturers to also grow green. When I say green, I think there's lots of stuff which we are now talking and hearing that most of the companies, steel producers, committing themselves to be carbon neutral by either 2015 or even 2050 or even before that. But there's a lot to be done on this side. But when I really look into the coated style, I think coated business side, I think there are a couple of things which the coated producers as a whole can do it faster. When I say coated, typically the power mix, if I talk about power mix, the power mix is quite smaller in terms of the requirements for a coated steel manufacturers, because they are more neater and cleaner technologies, but they need power. The power wise, today, like we are also discussing strongly in terms of making our power mix getting onto a greener side. We may be buying historically a thermal power. Today, we are talking about buying a renewable power. So we are also very strongly looking into in terms of making the products greener, but the embedded carbon in the steel is still a point of concern for us. So that's something which we are also working in terms of our upstream and making sure the embedded carbon is also taken care of in the right way, but it's going to be slightly distant dream. But at coated product level itself, the conversion stage, we are strongly committed to be carbon neutral by 2030. While we are in touch with a lot of technology suppliers, apart from the state-of-the-art machineries, what we right now are talking about, while we all know that in annealing furnaces, we use hydrogen as a media for reducing an atmosphere, but we are also now talking with a lot of partners in terms of injecting hydrogen in place of LNG. So to go back to a natural fossil fuel to maybe a more greener pastures, which could be hydrogen injection. Currently, we are working with one of our partners to work on this kind of a change. There are trials which are being taken at a pilot level. I think this is something which we are very keen about. And going forward, apart from power and the fuel, the third thing that we are really talking in terms of the paint. We are India's largest color-coated producer today. And we lie a huge responsibility when we say we got a market share close to 55 to 58% in the domestic market. And we produce a lot of color-coded products. We got a responsibility to make this product not only greener, but also safer from the paint perspective. We are fortunate enough, we are backed with our own paint company, but that also calls for how we can make the color-coded coils more greener and more recyclable from an environmental perspective. While we all know we use solvent-based paints to color code our coils, but there's a lot which we are right now doing in terms of getting beyond solvent also. This is all under experimentation level right now, but there's something as a call that we all need to commit ourselves that we're going to come out of the solvent base. The key challenge is what I see in terms of this is going to be, are we going to warranty our customers at the current level, which we talk about 15 to 20 years? We will we be able to do that with the alternate color paint systems that we're talking of? But yes, that's where the need and the innovation stuffs may come up. There are new materials which are being right now spoken and being developed. They may be at a lot of experimental levels. I know some of the things which have been already worked out by some of the companies and our competitors, but we as an organization are also committed to create that kind of a alternate products onto to paint system. While it's a booming industry, but from an environment perspective, we need to be very cautious about this, about the future side. Apart from this, what we are also talking about when we are talking about competing with the best in the globe, what is the kind of quality assurance? You know, we've started moving away from quality controls and making sure whatever we supply to our customers, that's fully comply to either the standards that we conform to, or maybe as per the TDCs that is being said. But the requirement today is going beyond that. And going beyond that would be meaning what best we can do for the customers. Now, what best we are today in the process of installing a lot of surface inspection systems and generating data for each and every meter that we are producing, in terms of each and every defect that we are producing. And we're embarking upon a very strong journey of digitalization and making sure that each and every inch of the surface is covered through AI-based video analytics, so that we are able to deliver products to our customers upfront with the best of the qualities that they are actually looking at. I think gone are the days when we used to talk about customer satisfaction. I think the time has really come where we need to go beyond that. So far, we've been looking into a kind of processes where we normally quote the products and do some kind of testings and then send it to the customers. I think most of the steel producers in the country, they are not having that kind of state-of-the-art surface inspection systems. JSW today got installed capacities close to 6 million tons of color-coded products. So there is a strong, need for JSW when we are running close to 18 galvanizing or galvano lines put together, 13 or 14 color coding lines in the country, to make sure that every inch of the product which is being sold, that's having a stronger control in terms of the quality. I think one of the other things which I keep hearing from my industry counterparts and various associations, our products need to be cost competitive too. Of course, that's the bare minimum thing which the customers would also be expecting, not only the quality, but the cost too. I think cost is something which we really need to work out. You know, in terms of color coated or in terms of coated products, we all know we are into a conversion industry. So when we say it's a conversion industry, it's largely either doing a metallic coating or doing a polymer coating. So two things which goes beyond the control of the producers is the LME price which you're buying these coatings or metallic coatings. It's all indexed. I think some kind of thought which needs to emerge in the country is, can we actually come out of the international indexes like LME and create our own index in the country? Which something is a thought process which I'm leaving behind Government of India and many other thought leaders in the country. We need to, create our industry more cost competitive, especially the coated industry from this side. Yes, of course, today we have also started getting a lot of, I would say metallic coating producers in the country like Hindustan Zinc, Vedantas, Indalcos and all that. The country today looks to be self-sufficient in terms of supplying these coated metallic coating products to the steel manufacturers. But the only thing is their cost competitiveness is also something which we need to really look. While we all been buying all these products on an LME, but there's a stronger need to develop our own indexes in the country. Second thing, which is really from a technology perspective, which the coating manufacturers can do is in terms of making sure how well they can have the process controls done with respect to these coatings when they're actually having their manufacturing processes defined. That's where my good friends in the industry, which are typically the OEM suppliers, we've been talking about a lot of stuffs. And very recently, we have done one change into one of our lines, where we've installed the strip fluttering controls, which is one of the latest one in the industry. Happy to share that has really given us a lot of control in terms of the process variability, and also have helped us to control the excessive coating, which is normally going along with the process. The point over here is there are technologies which today are available in the market. We just need to go a step forward and actually hop upon those technologies. I think having said that, when we actually are going to be cost competitive and we will have best of the quality supplied to our consumers, there are a lot of end applications which are also changing right now. Of course, I just spoke about one segment, which is solar, which is standing on a huge potential in terms of consumption in the country. One segment which is coming up very strongly within the solar segment is tube trackers. Now, this tube trackers is something where the solar panels are normally hung on both sides of the tube. And then, of course, with the change in the ray of the sun, these panels can move to increase the efficiency of the solar system itself. So what I understand from my industry friends is there is a potential to increase the efficiency of solar panels by 5 to 7%, which is strong. But now to make that steel for the test tube trackers, I think something which needs to be done over there. That's the technology piece, and where there is a stronger expectation from the consumer side to come up with a warranty clause of 25 years minimum. And that's where my good friends in the government of India, they've been stronger in terms of pushing up this kind of PLI schemes, but that needs to be closed faster. While the schemes are very good, but it's taking more longer than what we expected to hit the ground. And some kind of coverage, not only something which is going to come up upfront in the industry, but also something which is ongoing. I think both needs to be respected fully. So segments which we see, which is going to straight away coming up, we have seen a crash barriers which have come up already in the country. So it's an HRGI, which we have already started within our own processes. This is a new product in terms of coating. So JSW today is actually doing close to, I would say, 300,000 tons of HRGI in the country, which is a new segment and which we are trying to develop in terms of crash barriers even. That's a new application which we are working along with IZA to make sure that we get going into that segment too. Of course, we've been stronger. We got a stronger presence in tin, which is another packaging coating, which we say. And today, JSW, amongst all the locations, is poised with an installed capacity close to 600,000 tons. We are pushing, tin coatings into various, fields and newer areas. So we've occupied, or we've rather covered each and length and breadth of the existing applications, which could be anything from a food packaging coating to maybe an oil packaging coating. But there have been some pressures, what we've seen over last couple of months, because of all these commodity prices going up. There is a stronger want in terms of the downstream industry or the end consumers of tin in terms of moving away from tin packaging and looking for options and pastures like plastics. While that may be an alternate in terms of cutting cost, but it's not an alternate to be a producer or to be a seller with respect to a sustainable technologies. I think some kind of thoughts which needs to be coming up from Government of India. It's not only should be the cost, but the kind of sustainability index that we should be looking at in terms of our downstream end consumers. While the oil industry may have graduated out of tin to plastic-based containers, I think this is something which we need to be banning in the country as a whole. Good time, bad times, this doesn't last long. But these bad times, we should have a stronger policy which speaks about continuing with the more environment-friendly products. I think with all these points, what we see as an organization, and I personally look into this industry, with color coating products growing at a CJR roughly around 16 to 18%, and galvanizing galvalume growing at close to 9 to 11% in the country, and the kind of NSP that we have, NSP 2017, where the government of India has already put a very strong aspirational target of 300 million tons of installed capacities by 2030. I think this segment and this country is definitely, I'm not sure whether 300 million tons can be actually achieved by 2030, but this is an aspirational target. But I'm very confident the way government of India is now trying to do a lot in terms of cost of doing business and ease of doing business. There could be something stronger which would be coming up. What number we will end up at by 2030, that would be a point to be looked into. But yes, strongly with 140 million ton of industry in terms of installed capacity, we would definitely be growing, and growing at least not less than 8 to 9% rate. Now, if that happens, I personally see the coated industry also growing almost at the similar rate or slightly better rate. Because there's a lot to be done in terms of this market segments. When I speak about market segment, while huge amount of applications and need for warehousing coming up, and that's where the coated steel products are going to be consumed to a greater side. But there is also a segment which we call light gauge structural frames, which is into the housing and retail segment, housing and commercial segment. That's something which we should be talking and projecting our steel into a stronger way, and which is an area which India also as a country need to learn and actually grow into that segment in a stronger way. But I'm sure the way various state governments and government of India is working, we are damn confident that this segment would also be growing. Technologies in the country today are available. Number one, in terms of producing that kind of a product. Number two, in terms of engineering that product from an end application perspective. Third, we got construction companies who can really do this. I think this is going to be a stronger puller in terms of creating higher demand for the coated products. But yes, in the nutshell, if I was to say, wherever India would be by 2030, we see coated products from an installed capacity base of around 12.5 million tons, strongly standing close to 25 million tons. And we as an organization, we are fully committed to make sure our market shares are always intact. So that's what is from my side, and look forward, and thank you very much for having me over here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Malan. Thank you so much. And as usual, you have been very comprehensive in touching the most relevant issues, be it decarbonization, be it tackling the so-called quote-unquote unorganized sector, where a lot of your peers seem to exist. And it's a big challenge because, the concept of quality is very difficult to penetrate in certain markets of India. That is not to say that the other markets in the world are not price sensitive, but at the same time in India, as they keep saying, sasta roye bar bar, mehanga roye ek bar. So people have that tendency of buying anything which comes at a dirt. So that's a big challenge to the players like JSW, Tata Steel, Blue Scope, the major players, ArcelorMittal, Nippon Steel. For them, to tackle this challenge where to make the customer understand that quality comes at a price. And as you mentioned, you use solvent inks, and my good friend Sridhar from ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel, he was telling me that they have developed a particular paint by which they bring down the temperature of the material by almost 4 degrees. So these are issues, I think, which the industry needs to take care of to reduce our carbon footprint, what is to be done. And I see on a personal front, I have used color-coded sheet for my little farmhouse that I built in a place called Shanti Niketan, which is 200 kilometers from Calcutta. And there you'll be surprised to know that most of the houses in my vicinity are all, roofing done out of coated sheets, primarily because it's a green zone. And secondly, the aesthetic appeal. It looks beautiful. So, I have a tremendous fascination for using coated sheets wherever possible. So with that in mind, I would take this opportunity to urge everyone to look at the option wherever possible. Use color-coded sheets, use coated sheets, and that could add value to your building, which you are going to do once in a lifetime anyway. So with that, I'll thank you once again, Mr. Malhan, and we'll move on to because from SAIL we had Mr. Gupta who was supposed to address, but unfortunately this morning he fell sick and he's indisposed right now. So Mr. Vinod Gupta, who's the executive director of SAIL, sent a message saying that he will not be able to join today. So we will move on to our next speaker. Again, someone I know for quite some time now, Mr. Pascal Cambos, who's the head of sales excellence and marketing projects at Novacell. And as I told you at the beginning, Novacell gives protection to the sheets that you buy. So it's an additional protection which is available today for you to protect your sheets, especially during the pandemic period. I think contamination was one issue everyone was looking at. So that was the time I think Novacell took to the market to ensure that all the sheets are contamination free. So without further delay, I would request Mr. Pascal Cambos to take us through the journey of how Novacell Films has played an important role in this entire scenario. Over to you, Mr. Cambos. You are muted, Mr. Cambos. If you could unmute yourself.
It's better like this, I guess.
Yeah, now it's perfect.
Okay. Thanks to you, dear panelists, dear audience. It's an honor for Novacell to participate to such event dedicated to metal, and more especially to painted metals. This is a big market, a huge market, and for us, it's probably our premier market in terms of sales, development, and products. Novacell is a European company with factories and service center on every continent to support our customer worldwide. And I propose to share my screen. I prepare a small PowerPoint to support this meeting. Do you see my my screen?
Yes, Mr. Cambos, we can see your screen.
It is full screen?
Yes, it is full screen.
Okay, perfect. For this presentation, we will look at pre-coated metal market in general, and we also prepare a kind of specific focus on household appliances. Through innovation, we can bring to you a new material. Surface protection, we have to preserve your surface. But also one of our policy is to add value to your own surfaces through the protective film. Also, we'll see, and Mr. Malan said it, our commitment in the preservation of environment, which is also key for us as well as for you. And also we'll have a short overview on some product who can be used in your market. We can propose you. And of course, at the end, we will answer to questions you may have. Pre-painted metals, it's a modern material that is constantly adapting to the need of the industry, building, household appliances, and so on. And we have seen the evolution in the previous presentation. This is also a creative potential of this material, open up a wide range of possibility. It also provides a technical answer to the expectation of manufacturer, architect, designer all your customers, and this market is expected to strongly grow in the coming years, according to the magazine Internal Sheet Metals of June, just right now. The compound annual growth for the coming year is estimated at 7.9%. That means, as I said previously, it is a material we constantly evolve and create market share. This is also, I would say, this market is always developing new surfaces, new color, new finishes, and also functionalization of paint system. When I said functionalization, it could be anti-fingerprint properties. This is also outdoor guarantee. We were spoken about 25 years guarantee for painted metals for the building. And as a specialist of surface protection, and with more than 40 years of expertise, mainly in the painted metal, Novacell has adapted its product range to meet your needs and the need of your own customer every time. And we have in our range more than 200 solutions to protect painted metals. And we can do that through, I would say, a qualified team, technical team and marketing team here in France, where we develop product, but also with a lot of partnerships we have established over the year with the key player of this market. And at the end, I will show you, I would say, a list of key players we used to work with. It could be major account, and it could be also direct actor of this industry. Protecting pre-coated metal, this is not only put a film sticks on the surface. We want to do more than this. We have to accompany your painted metals from your factory to the end user. We will remove the protection at the end. That means we have to be able to provide you protective film that withstands all the downstream industrial processes. This is all the processes for production, but also transportation by truck, but also overseas transportation in containers, up to the outdoor use of painted metals. We have to protect your surface from beginning up to the end of building, for example, because the protection is the last point, the last thing you will remove from when you build a new house, a new building, and so on. And pre-painted metal, this is not only color. This is an extremely sophisticated product. Each component of your product meets technical, outdoor guarantee, mechanical resistance, aesthetical, and functional expectation to satisfy your customers' needs. And all those components will directly impact the choice of a protective film that will preserve the added value you gave to your own material. And our job at Novacell is to recommend you and to provide you the right film who can protect your surfaces and suit the expectation you may have and the expectation of your own customer. And for this, with a constant quality all along the year, because surface protection is a technical consumable. We have put surface protection solution for every type of, I would say, painted metals, for every type of painted metals and for every market. And we want to focus on appliances market, which is a huge market in pre-painted metals. And Novacell has designed and proposed a range of products that allow you to distinguish your offer from competition by bringing more than color, function, and painted metals. a product who can help your own customer to increase their productivity through, I would say, easy and very fast removal properties when the film is removed during the production of appliances. Before the end of the process, you have to remove the film, and we can, through the film, give added value to your own raw material. And those products are also very easy to remove and without any strength. That means you avoid any and you reduce a lot all the risk of muscular traumatism, because we know that in certain markets, you have people at the end of the line or during the production who have to remove protection for surface protection from painted metals. Those products has been qualified at many producers of household appliances, and for example, in North America, Whirlpool imposes a Novacell EasyPeel product to all its suppliers. You cannot be a supplier for Whirlpool America without putting on the top an EasyPeel and fast to peel product from Novacell. Sorry. We have also a large commitment in the environmental issues. And for that, sorry. This is, for us, environmental issues are the center of the Novacell action since more than 25 years. We are consistently working on it in order to find solutions more and more responsible. And by reducing the use of fossil fuels and limited the emission of CO2. All our products are also recyclable. You can recycle all the protective film from Novacell. To increase these actions, we have designed three technology of, I would say, a responsible product. This is a range called Oxygen. One part of the range is based on a recyclable polyethylene or polyolefin we put in our film. We produce our film with waste of films. We have also a range called Vegetal. Oxygen Vegetal was based on a mass balance approach. And also we have patented a new technology called Oxygen Lean that reduces the weight of polyolefin of the film itself without changing the thickness and the technical properties of our film. For the same, I would say, same features, you have less plastic inside. All those technology and all of those technology were different products ready to be sold on your market. Do not hesitate to contact us. You will have at the end some information about people you can work with. And you know, we can do a lot of speech on the green approach. And for us, it's always better to give you a concrete example of the commitment to preserve the planet and the support we can give to you by reducing your own carbon footprint through a protective film. This is an Oxygen 3120, which is a standard product designed specially for the profile and insulation panels market. With this grade, compared to the equivalent in a non-oxygen variation, you can save more than 11 grams of CO2 per square meter protected, which is huge. And this product allows you to considerably reduce the carbon footprint of your own painted metal. This is also, I would say, for you, a way to distinguish your offer by protecting your painted metal with an oxygen product from Novacell, because you will reduce your own carbon footprint, but your own customer also, because when you have to carry protected surfaces, it's also a way to reduce the carbon footprint. It was in a short time, because time was limited, restricted. what we can say about surface protection, but keep in mind, we have a lot of solutions more or less for every type of painted metal system of paint and end-use application. We have also possibility to offer you, I would say, technical tapes for your own coil. When you have produced a coil, you need also to have technical tapes first to start your coil and at the end also to close your coil. And you need to have a safe and reliable product for this. And we can offer you, of course, double-side adhesive with high mechanical resistance and also with a high-enforced adhesion to secure your coil. But behind that, we have also all those products that have been designed for your industry in order to not deteriorate the material beside the product, and to make sure that you or your customer will be able to use 100% of the coil without generating any scraps. At the beginning of the presentation, I said that we have a lot of partnership in this market. And you can see on this slide, we used to work with, I would say, large key actors on this market. For most of them, we have direct contact with their own R&D department in order to make sure that we have always the right solution for the actual ranges, but also for the future of the pre-painted metals. We used to work since a long time with ArcelorMittal. ArcelorMittal is our key partner on it, but we have also Tata Steel, Arconic, and we use also to work with end users. Kingspan, it's insulated panel manufacturers, as well as we are working with, I would say, appliances makers such as Liebherr or Whirlpool, Electrolux, and so on. We have direct and regular contact with those companies every time in order to make sure that we have the right adequation in between their surface and our protection, surface protection. But also we used to cooperate directly with the paint manufacturers. What will be the type of paint, liquid paint, as well as a powder coating. And for that, we have developed partnership, strong partnership with the key actor of this market. It allows us to always anticipate the need in the pre-painted metals. You know, to design a new paint system, it's always long, and you have to be there at the whole beginning of the development or design of a new paint system to make sure that when the paint system is on the market, the protective film ready to protect this surface will be there also. To design a protective film, it is 18 months, and we cannot wait that the new product is on the market before starting to work on it. We have to anticipate it, and it's why we work with those type of companies. And also, Novacell is an historical member of the ECCA, which is the European Coil Coating Association. And we are part of the ECCA since more than 40 years, probably 42 or 45 years, I would say, from the whole beginning of the creation of the ECCA. And it's allow us also to be always in line with the market expectations. Do not hesitate if you have any question. Taking only 10 minutes to speak about this market, which is an important market, generally speaking, and a very key market for Novacell. It is a challenge. In any case, we have a Novacell team ready to support you and to help you. First of all, Mr. Dilip Keshari, which is a sales manager for India, because we are implanted in India since a very long time. We have also Valérie Lévesque, which is our market manager for all the pre-painted metals, and Abdel Razak Kerbal, which is our marketing manager and mainly for the tape solutions. All this team will support you to find the right product responding to your needs, to your expectation, but also always keep in mind to the expectation of your own customers. When you protect the surface, it is not only in your own plant, it is to go up to the end use on the market with all the process downstream. And you will have here all the information concerning people I mentioned previously, with their name and address and phone number. And also do not hesitate to follow us on LinkedIn, as well as you can find all relevant information concerning painted metals and other solutions for the metal market on our website, Novacell Protective. Thanks a lot for your attention. I hope I was on the right time schedule.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Messi, once again, for a very excellent coverage of the Novacell film business, which helps us in ways more than one in not just protecting, but adding value to your pre-coated products.
Yes, it is. I guess,
and
besides the protection, which is the guarantee of the quality of what you do and what you will do, and it's takes the opportunity of surface protection to give also added value to your surface. It will be my conclusion.
Thank you, Messi, once again, and please stay with us, Mr. Cambos, because just after Mr. Pugazenti, it will also be Mr. Garg from Tata Steel,
Yes.
who will also highlight the Tata Steel portfolio. So our next speaker is someone I know for more than 25 years now, and who I treat as my mentor, as my guru, who has taught me a lot of things in life. And my association with him started from the days he was with Sponge Iron Manufacturers Association. Before that, of course, he's been with the steel industry by virtue of being with SAIL, if I'm not mistaken, Pulsar. With you're muted, Pulsar, if you can unmute.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible. So
yeah, I was with Nippon Dendro Ispat for some time.
yeah, right. I'm sorry. Yeah, with the Ispat Group, Nippon Dendro Ispat. Yeah. So he spent time in the steel industry. So he has, even those days, quite closely associated with what we see as the galvanized market today, because Ispat, Nippon Dendro Ispat, that company which later became Ispat, is now owned by JSW. The Dolby unit of JSW Ispat, Dolby unit is with JSW's portfolio. So Mr. Pugazenti is now the executive director of Lead Zinc Development Association, and he has a thorough knowledge and exposure on a day-to-day basis with the galvanizers in this country, with all the galvanizing units. He's done huge work in this field, and number of workshops with regard to the galvanizers, working closely with the galvanizers. And I think it is the right platform for Mr. Pugazenti to take us through the challenges which the galvanizing industry faces with regard to hot dip galvanizing, with regard to what zinc prices have been in recent days, and how effectively the galvanizers need to take up the challenge, and what are the flaws and updates as far as galvanizing is concerned. So may I request Mr. Pugazenti to take us through the galvanizing business as it stands today.
Good afternoon, Nirmalyo, and good afternoon to your team, Steel and Metallurgy team. Am I audible first of all before I proceed further?
Absolutely audible, loud and clear.
Thank you very much for inviting me to your panel. I was there in the earlier panel meetings also. And I always found the Steel and Metallurgy is one magazine which has been aggressively championing and promoting the cause of the Indian steel industry, as well as the non-ferrous metals industry. Thanks to Nirmalyo, you have been really sustaining that campaign for a very long time. Please continue. And Ankit is also there now in the journey. I'm sure you will do very well. Coming to my organization, my name, as you mentioned, El Pugazenti, short name Mr. Pug, as the people call me, both from India and overseas. And I am a metallurgical engineer and a past president of the Indian Institute of Metals, the premier body of metallurgical community in this country. And coming to my association, India Lead Zinc Development Association, this is the oldest association, oldest market development association in the world. International Zinc Association came much later in Brussels. Then they are there all over the world. And IZT, I'm very active in IZT also. And also I've been active in Indian market, Indian government committees, standardization and Bureau of Indian Standards, going to many international conferences in Europe, Asia Pacific, presenting about the Indian galvanizing industry, etc. So we started in 1971, India Lead Zinc Development Association. Practically all the galvanizers, whether you name general galvanizers, sheet galvanizers, wire galvanizers, pipe galvanizers, they are all my members. Also lead battery companies, zinc producer, importers of metals, those who are making lead and zinc chemicals, they are also my members. And a large number of battery recycling units, they are also my members. And ILSDA, for your information, for the information of all the panel members, this is not a trade body, not a lobbying body. It is a technical body undertaking market development for lead and zinc containing products, and also doing awareness promotion, knowledge creation among the students community, the public at large. We take the message to all of them so that they know what is this zinc about, what is the beauty about zinc, what does this lead do in our daily life, etc. Now, coming to the Indian zinc industry, let me give a quick rundown. Before that, I think it's better I give you a global dimension. The world produces around 13.8 million tons last calendar year, 2021, 13.8 million tons of zinc produced all over the world, including India, of which about 2/3, 65% goes in galvanizing of all products, structures, sheets, pipes, wires, guardrails, structures for renewable energy, etc. So about 2/3 goes out of the 13.8 million tons. Coming to lead, about 12 million tons, 12.2 million tons of lead is being produced worldwide, global production, 12.2 million tons. About 70% goes in the lead battery manufacture. Batteries used in your car, scooter, inverter, UPS, name any application, lead battery is there. Now let me come to Indian scenario, zinc and lead scenario. There is only one producer in India, Hindustan Zinc, and they are the world's third largest integrated mining plus smelting, integrated zinc smelter in the country. Last year, last financial year, India produced around 0.7 million tons of zinc. I would say 7 lakh tons for my Indian friends. For my overseas friends, 0.7 million tons of zinc was produced in the country, of which about 75% goes in galvanizing of all products, as I mentioned, including coated sheets and other products, structures, tubes, wires, etc., etc. Out of this 0.7 million tons of zinc consumed in the country, Nirmalyo and panel members, about 30% of the zinc produced in the country goes in sheet galvanizing, 30%. 20% goes in pipe galvanizing, GI pipes, galvanized iron pipes. About 15% goes in general galvanizing, galvanizing of structures for transmission line towers, telecom towers, railway electrification towers, guard rails, structures for renewable energy, etc. About 15% of zinc goes there. About 5% goes in wire galvanizing, fencing wire, barbed wire, wires for various applications in cable, etc. So that's the kind of today's galvanizing industry. I'm not going to talk about other applications today, die casting, chemicals, battery, lead, and recycling, etc. Only galvanizing, I gave you the dimensions. Coming to this galvanizing, the first and foremost point I want to tell all of you is that steel is the basic engineering and constructional material. There is no activity where steel does not find an application, whether it is agriculture, whether it is manufacturing, or for a infrastructural sector, infrastructure project, or for construction, your own house, sheds for industry, sheds for many other applications, and name anything, buckets, GI buckets, galvanized iron buckets. Now today it's all plastic buckets, colorful plastic buckets, but GI buckets, pipes, you name any activity, steel is always there. But unfortunate part is steel always corrodes very aggressively in marine and saline atmosphere, chemical atmosphere, moderate corrosion in inland, and maybe very low in some areas where there's hardly any corrosion or industrial activity. Depends on the intensity or the exposure conditions. Steel will always corrode. But how do you prolong the life of steel? You look at the periodic table, there are so many 200 metals there. There is only one metal which is ideally married to steel for corrosion protection, zinc. Not today, from time immemorial, steel and iron have always been galvanized. Cast iron fittings and many other structures, many other products. Zinc has got a natural affinity for steel. Molten zinc, melted zinc in a bath, galvanizing bath, has such a natural affinity for a cleaned steel. You may do chemical cleaning, you may do inline annealing like in continuous galvanizing. A clean steel, molten zinc, there is such an intense natural metallurgical affinity, chemical affinity between both of these products. After this, let me tell you, you may paint steel, but the dried paint film is only a layer on the steel giving protection. But in galvanizing, what happens in the galvanizing bath, 450 degrees centigrade, that's the melting, that is the operating temperature of a galvanizing bath, 450 degrees centigrade. And here there is an iron zinc alloy formation on the steel. A metallurgical bonding takes place between clean steel and molten zinc. Alloy layer forms, it really gets bonded to the steel, unlike the dried film I was telling you. And once you take out this alloy coated, iron zinc alloy coated steel product, once it comes out of the galvanizing bath, the top layer, pure zinc, 100% zinc, we call it heat of zinc, that is on top of the alloy layer. So microstructurally, you will have a pure zinc layer, iron zinc alloy layer, and the base steel. That is why it has got excellent wear resistance, excellent abrasion resistance when you handle, when you transport, put it on the soil, erect it in a structure, nothing happens. The coating does not get damaged. Excellent wear and abrasion resistance. The next point I want to tell you, if you apply more zinc coating, thicker coating on steel, it will give a long life and very corrosive applications. For mild atmospheres, you can come down on coating thickness wise. So what I'm saying is the life of the coated product, the life of the galvanized product is directly proportional to the amount of zinc you are depositing, either as thickness or as coating weight. So these are the important points why zinc is such a favored material worldwide for corrosion protection. You may call it galvanizing, then you also have zinc alloy, zinc aluminum alloy coated product, galvalium. We're talking about magnesium also, mag zinc, that's also coming now. You also have galvanized steel sheets, that is the iron zinc alloy layer on the galvanized sheet is pure zinc layer is converted into alloy layer, and the coated sheet comes out of the bar. So a variety of products. Then your color coated steels, which Mr. Malan was narrating very and nicely presented by Mr. Malan. I should tell you, the whole industry scenario, issues and concerns, what government needs to do, what industry needs to do, he covered excellently well. Now, apart from these products, you also have galvanized sheets for various other applications mentioned earlier, pipes, wires, etc. Now, India is such a country, everybody knows today India is the second largest steel producer. In zinc also, we are the third largest producer. Plenty of zinc available in the country. Now, what is happening for the last few years, India has been investing more and more funds in infrastructure, highways, Jal Jeevan, water for every village, power for all, Bharatmala, Sagarmala, renewable energy, so on. So many social and big infrastructural activities are taking place. We are spending lots and lots of money on infrastructure. So you produce more steel, amount of zinc, you have got enough of zinc in the country. Earlier we were import dependent. We are now mostly totally indigenously produced zinc is being used. Import is not really a big tonnage in this country. And with the infrastructural growth, manufacturing growth, auto sector, for instance, galvanized sheets, coated sheets are used for the car bodies also. For bus bodies, we have been using for a long time and then paint the bus body. Car bodies, we are also using them worldwide, is going to increase in this country. Galvanized rebar is one product which we promoted. In fact, 1985, the Lotus Temple in Delhi, the Baha'i Temple, the international consultant came and approached ILSDA. We said, why don't you have galvanized rebar in the Lotus Temple? Taking the cue from Sydney Opera House, which sits on a river there in Sydney. We have been using that, and subsequently galvanized rebar we have been using in more and more applications, but the amount of galvanized rebar used is not big. We need to use more and more in infrastructure in coastal areas, marine areas, chemical environments, etc. So we've got lots and lots of potential applications. We are not even scratched the potential for galvanized steel. That's why per capita can so low, as Mr. Malhan was telling. But the government is always thinking about tendering. For any project, they will look for tendering. Then they will look for low-cost product, the lowest one. Then people try to give thinner coating or they go for painting, etc. So these are some of the issues in this country. But the potential for galvanized products, coated products, color coated, galvalume is huge in this country. The huge unexplored market is there in front of us. The government is aware, but then they have to change their policies of procurement. Mr. Malan also talked about LME linked zinc price. Almost all the non-ferrous metals are always LME based because we are a part of the global market. We export sizable abroad and we also import things into the country. Nickel, etc. We import, magnesium we import, a lot of things we import also. Zinc also we are importing to some extent, lead also we are importing. So we are a part of the global village now, and that is why there is an international linkage. But he's right, Mr. Malan is right, that there should be a locally developed price index for non-ferrous metals. Maybe, I think that will come in course of time. But the last point I want to mention, since our Nirmala has fixed the time, on 25th, 26th, 27th July, this month, ILSDA is holding a big mega event on galvanizing in Nagpur. And that event is going to focus on emerging markets, new technologies, and circular economy. Steel and Metallurgy is one of the media partners. There are many others, Tata Steel, JSW, JSPL, many others are there as promoters. It's going to be a with a two-day conference, 24th and 27th July. 26th July, we are going to visit Kalmeshwar, JSW coated products, where I worked in the 1984, 86, 88, etc. It was called Nippon Dendro Ispat in Kalmeshwar. Mr. M.L. Mittal was the promoter. His sons were also there, PK Mittal, VK Mittal, etc. Then it became his path, and then now it is JSW Coated Products. We'll be visiting there in the morning. JSW is also co-sponsor, as I told you. They are also making a presentation on HRGI, which Mr. Malan talked about. And we are also going to have another afternoon plant visit to Shilpa Steel. That is a big general galvanizing unit in Nagpur. So it's going to be a 3-day event, number of international speakers, domestic speakers, a mega event after 2.5 years of COVID lockdown, and exciting event. I would be very happy to share the details with all the panel members and even steelman, metallurgy, whoever they want, and they're most welcome to send. With this, I would like to stop because you already had fixed my time, Nirmalya. Thank you.
Thank you so much once again, Pungsap, for taking us through the world of zinc galvanizing. And when we talk about lead, this is the most happening thing today. Every company which looks at its future says the future lies in the EV segment. So in that EV segment, naturally, we look at the future of our batteries, which could give us a tremendous amount of savings in terms of reducing our carbon footprint, as well as reducing our dependence on fossil fuels. So once again, I would like to urge everyone, those who are listening on YouTube also, those on Zoom, all of you are most welcome to attend the conference which ILSA is organizing in Nagpur, and the details are available. You can also contact us. We will send you all the details for participation, and in case you wish to sponsor the event, you're most welcome to do so as well. And if you want to give a presentation, please get in touch either with Mr. Pugazenty or his colleague, Mr. Sridhar, who will be happy to help you through, help you in attending the event. So thank you, Mr. Pugazenty, once again, and the cooperation that we have been having for all these years together. And I wish you good health so that for many more years to come, we get to work together under your guidance and your blessings. Thank you, Mr. Pugazenty. And with that, we will now move on to another important player in the segment, Tata Steel. So Mr. Harshinder Garg is here with us, who will actually take us through the journey of Tata Steel's foray in this segment. He is the head of marketing, Tata Steelium and Galvano branded products and retail at Tata Steel. So over to you, Mr. Harshinder Garg.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mr. Nirmalya. Dignitaries, respected panel members, and all the colleagues who are listening to us on YouTube and on the live platform. First of all, trust everyone is safe and sound as the COVID cases are rising again. So my earnest request is take boosters whenever your turn came, so it will help the entire country. Now coming on to the subject. So basically I'm looking after the branded products in CR and coated products in Tata Steel. So I would be delving more into that only. We all know the product portfolio of Tata Steel. So just my discussions will happen in 4 or 5 areas. First, I would like to discuss about steel demand or apparent steel usage in India. Then the key triggers or the changes happening around us, which are resulting in the difference in the buying behavior of the MSMEs, or we call them emerging corporate accounts. And finally, the segments in CR and coated and their buying behavior. And just to give you the product portfolio in CR and coated of Tata Steel at the end. So just like Mr. Malhan has discussed, in India, we are producing around 120 million tons, and the demand is around 104 million tons if we consider FY22. There is a delta which like we are exporting as on date. This demand will grow to like the figures which Government of India has given us is like 300 million tons by 2030. So there is a big jump which will be like taken by India in terms of their demand as far as steel is concerned. As of now, like India is only 75 kg per capita. Like we are consuming 75 kg steel per capita vis-a-vis like if we consider China, so it is like around 600, 650 odd kgs. There is a substantial growth which is there in our market, and that's why like Government of India is so robust in their plans also. Uh, Going on to like a few triggers. First, I would like to discuss about CR, and then I will move to coated products. In CR, if we see like there are different segments, and these segments require different steel. Uh, uh, they generally give the requirements to the steel suppliers, and then obviously as the experts in steel industry, we propose what kind of grade or what kind of steel is best suited for their applications. For example, automotive, if we consider as a segment, so it is moving towards more high strength kinds of steel because they would like to have a lower weight, number one, and number two is safety is paramount for them, like safety of their customers. So they are moving from normal grades to high strength grades. So that is a shift. Then there is a shift like in the panel segment, the segment is moving like from powder coated usage of CR to like pre-coated CR. The only problem which they are facing is like how to weld or how to join two different sections of pre-coated material. So that is still in the minds of many consumers, but many are graduating to like already using pre-coated steel. Now coming on to like other segments, like if we deep dive into different segments, like in Tata Steel, we focus, we have started our journey by focusing on two segments like auto, panel, main segments. Then we deep dive into sub segments, and now we are like focusing on micro segments. So the best part in focusing like into the micro segments is they give you lots of insight. So what are their requirements, what exactly we can do, whether they are using the right kind of steel, so we can guide them in the right direction, and that's how like we can add value to their system also by making them use the best quality steel and at a affordable price. uh, uh, they might be using like the grade which is not required. For example, the high end grade, maybe the application doesn't require that kind of a grade. So that is like a hand in hand kind of a concept which we generally work upon. And uh, right now like there are losses which Government of India is focusing, like there are power losses, hysteresis losses. So maybe like in motor windings right now the usage is a different kind of CR, but in the times to come, like there are B ratings which will be coming, and there will be a mandatory usage of like CR grades. So that's how like the shift is happening in the industry as the industry is progressing towards like uh, or like taking a leap towards a different journey. So accordingly, the ask is different. The stringency factor is increasing. The new norms are coming into picture. Uh, so these are like few things which I would like to highlight in terms of CR. In terms of coated, Mr. Malan has already discussed in terms of roofing market. So I would like to take a different dimension. Like there is a coated market which is beyond roofing also, like a non-BNC or building and construction market. Be it like appliance, be it solar, be it HVACs, doors and windows. There are many segments to name wherein like these pre-coated steels are used. So that's how like there are different requirements, there are different grades, there are different kind of steels like starting from, if I name a few, like GA galvanized, which is primarily being used into automotive, then GP into ducting, into like fall sealing, into cable trays. Then if I came to GL, so maybe like solar panels. So ZAM entirely into PEB, solar, crash barrier. So there are different segments which are associated with different kind of steel. And in case if we discuss about the Tata Steel's portfolio with the existing and the upcoming expansion plan, so more or less we are there for each and every segment. We are discussing about ZAM also, which is zinc, aluminum, magnesium, and that would be like the first of its kind product from our Kalinganagar plant very shortly. And going forward, like we have listened about HR pre-coated or like HR galvanized material. So therein also like we are coming up with a pre-coated HR line, and that's how like we are also moving in a direction as our customers are moving. So as of one more point which I would like to highlight is like the focus on greener steel or sustainability. So in Tata Steel, we are also like very focused in our approach in giving the steel products which are sustainable in nature to our customers. Like our brands are ROHS compliant brands, and we are taking that much care that if in case our OEMs or like our customers are going to supply to their end customers which are looking forward to a sustainable kind of brands, so we are there with that. That's like in totality. Maybe like I would love to hear more in terms of queries so that we can discuss on that. So thanks a lot as of now. So
thank you, Mr. Garg. And as we always keep saying, Tata Steel was born with a legacy, and they have a legacy of their own. A company we started in 1907 has completed almost 115 years of service to the nation. And Tata Steel, at times, I would say at most of the times, thinks ahead of the industry. For example, when it comes to decarbonization efforts, Tata Steel moved way ahead of what the industry did. And I am also, let's say, really grateful to Sajanji and JSW, which being a late entrant in the field, became so conscious of its corporate responsibility and responsibility towards our Gen Next, that Sajanji always keeps saying that these are efforts which are reducing our dependence on fossil fuels, looking forward to reducing our carbon footprint, are areas which is given due importance within JSW Group. And JSW, having acquired these companies, as Mr. Pugazandi was mentioning, the Kalmeshwar unit was originally that of Deepan and Ispat. Then it became a part of JSW. JSW also acquired the Dolvi unit, which has gone through a further expansion of 5 million tons. And all the players the organized players that we have today, ArcelorMittal, Nippon Steel, they deserve a special mention for delivering quality, for delivering value to the end customer. In fact, the pre-engineered buildings, the amount of pre-coated steel which is used deserves a special mention. And today, INSDAG, which I think many of you know, is Institute for Steel Development and Growth, which is jointly promoted by Ministry of Steel, Government of India, and the major steel producers. They have designed under Prime Minister Awas Yojana, these small dwelling units, which are cost effective, using primarily pre-coated structures. I mean, pre-coated steel being used looks very aesthetic. At the same time, it's low-cost housing, which is available under Prime Minister Awas Yojana, for which you get adequate subsidy. So promotion of our pre-coated products, our galvanized products, needs special, I would say, interest on the point of view of the government as well. We need more of galvanized railway coaches today. I think galvanized coaches are already being manufactured in Kapurthala, if I'm not mistaken. But at least the coach factories today are looking at using galvanized coaches, which looks appealing, which looks better in terms of its exterior and aesthetic appeal. And I'm sure these things, our next series of pre-coated and galvanized steel, whether it's a physical conference or a webinar, we will try and ensure that the railways, the Road Transport Ministry, Mr. Nitin Gadkari is someone who is very proactive. So we in fact had Mr. Nitin Gadkari in one of our webinars earlier. So we would request them to take this initiative forward, where it is crash barriers. I remember the last steel minister, in fact, had taken initiative for crash barriers, using crash barriers, where our galvanized products have a major role to play. So this is the way forward. We need to look at, you can't blame steel because it corrodes. There are so many applications available to prevent the corrosion, and the technology is also moving fast. We have better paints available, better quality, products which, if you calculate in terms of life cycle cost, it will give you a benefit in the long run. Now, what is the product unless you have technology? So to talk about the technology for galvanized, pre-painted, all these products which are constantly being developed through R&D, and you have value-added products, because our Prime Minister always talks of, in fact, Mr. Malan also spoke of PLI scheme. In fact, our products in India, we need to, as a part of our Atmanirbhar initiative, what we need to do is export value-added products rather than export billets, rather than export intermediary products. So we need value-added products to be manufactured in India as a part of Make in India campaign, and then export those value-added products where we have better margins, we have more value added to our economy. So to talk about that Make in India campaign, Mr. Mithilesh Yadav, who is a very good friend of mine, and who's in fact been proactive in all conferences, whether you visit Southeast Asia, you visit any conference in Bangladesh, you will find Mr. Yadav always there. Mithileshwar has taken this initiative forward. And I also thank his managing director, Mr. Panwar, who has been kind enough to always nominate Mr. Yadav for our initiatives. So with that, we will move on to the technology and equipment supplier, Danelli. Danelli, as you know, is a company which is originally headquartered in a place called Butrio in Italy, in the state of Friuli region, which is also known for his excellent wines. I know Mr. Cambos will say, no, the French wines are the best, but the Italians are also capable of delivering very good wine in the state of Friuli. And it is Mr. Mithilesh Yadav who will take us through the journey of, in fact, Danelli, let me tell you, has an excellent workshop, which is world standard in a place called what is it called? Three City, right? Three City, which is in, very close to Chennai, 3 to 4 hours drive from Chennai, and in the state of Andhra Pradesh. So that's a world-class workshop facility which is available, which Danelli has put up. And to take us through the journey of what Danelli is capable of delivering, it's over to you, my friend, Mr. Mithilesh Yadav. from Daniel.
Thank you very much, Nirmala, for your nice introduction about me and my company. So you have slightly clear my job. I think I am very clear. Everybody can hear just this for verifying. Is it okay? My voice.
Absolutely. Please go ahead.
Okay, and just to extension to what you mentioned about Danley, India. So, of course, we have very nice and state of art factory, City, the place which is like 2 hours from Chennai airport, and we have like very big setup over there for all the supply chain departments like logistic, purchase, and from operation also like project management, etc. So we have full-fledged team over there who are working continuously for not only for the Indian market segment, it is also like we are making the equipment for the export market. In addition to that, we have also our automation division in Calcutta, where we have like almost 100 colleagues working for electrics and automation for all the projects what we are doing in the market and also for the export market. And along with, of course, mechanical equipment, they are also working independently and they are involved in, let's say, like revamping and also for supplying the spares and small services to the old and existing clients. And we have also another setup in Pune, where we have Danley Central Combustion, the business units of Danley Group, which looks after all the furnace, let's say, like reheating requirement for the entire steel industry, basically. And just after that, I would like to go very quick presentation. It's very difficult to say very quick, but I can promise it will be very informative because this time I have chosen slightly different topic. So just allow me to share the screen. Okay. Can you see my screen now in full screen?
Yes, it.
Okay. So I have chosen the topic that is development of Danley Group in the flat cold, what we call cold rolling and processing lines for the galvanizing and the product. Before going into the technology, I would like to take a couple of the references what all our expert panelists has already mentioned during their speech. And one thing is like, of course, what Mr. Mallan and also my colleague from my friend from Tata Steel has mentioned about the market demand of the products and also the diversification and it's like potential opportunity for those kind of the market. So one thing is that of course there has to be certain demand that's like characteristics in the market which will pull the product into the market. And but at the moment I'm looking into the different aspect in the market that is about the supply side. And if you see the kind of the expansion plan all the steel manufacturer has nowadays spending the flat product, and if we count those additional capacity which are coming up into the flat segment, I can say like 5 million ton JSW Dolby they recently commissioned the flat hot straight mill, and JSPL is already like ordered last year for their 5 million ton almost expansion. Then another 5 million ton in JSW the Tornavelu. And the next 5 million, 5.5 is like already approved and announced project for ArcelorMittal and Nippon Steel. So almost 20 million flat hot rolled coil are ready to come into the market in next, let's say like 2 to 3 years. That is something like where we have to think where our whole division is going to be, and we are ready to cater that kind of the opportunity available in the market. I can smell let's say like very huge opportunity, let's say like potential for people like us who are in the business of the cold coated and the cold rolling products. And this is one side of the supply. Another thing is also like this is also the area where we have like a lot of opportunity, I would say, in terms of the spreading the awareness in the market to create big demand. Like what some of my friends has already mentioned about HRGI, which is coming up in the very big way, zinc magnesium again, and solar panel, road barriers, etc. So those kind of the new applications are coming, and those are not coming in a small volume; they are coming into the big volume. And now I can see in the market people are talking about the new expansion, and those are mainly for the value added. Now there are very less inquiries for the normal galvanizing or normal color coating line. Everybody is talking about the value added products and they are more curious to know what kind of the value added can we bring into the system, which can pay something more as a premium, or let's say like as a let's say like healthy margin to the producer, and that is only possible because of course some value addition into the system. This is something like market dynamics of these products, but in addition to that, okay, what is also like part of our earlier discussion in the panel about the quality and the cost. So I'm going to spend a couple of slides only on talking about the latest technology which is going to improve the quality up to certain extent, of course, and addition to that, some value addition to the operating cost, how we are going to improve that. Just going into that, I will just highlight here the daily experience for the cold complex before going into much detail. So by using this slide, I'm trying to highlight like we are spread across the globe for our services and products. And it is not limited to Europe, Asia, and Africa. We are also in America, and where we have recently bagged a big order for Nucor. And there in the integrated plant, we have also almost 2 million ton of the downstream cold rolling plants, and that includes PLTCM and galvanizing and the chlorocoating. And you can also find many names like JSW also in Tarapur 14 plate, then in Vietnam, many of them, Russia, Turkey, and also in the Asia. You can find many names over there. Going next, yeah. I will be talking a bit on the reference list, scorecard. I can say like we are one of the pioneer for all kinds of the requirement of the customer in any part of the cold rolling and this processing line. I'm not mentioning about other business units and other products, which is going to be the last discussion. And highlight here, you can see like for the tandem mill is like almost we are close to 50 references. For cold diversity mill, we are almost 28. And temper mill, which is a skin pass independent mills, is 29. It is considered for the galvanizing, it is very loose. And we are also like in the business of the hot skin pass mill, which is like the bill just installed after the HR coil production, and just to this just improve the further quality of the HR coil. For pickling, we are like 164. For hot dip galvanizing, it's a slightly odd number, but it is like now more than 150 plus. Of course, it is now 156, I believe. For ATL is like 114. Then CAL and the inspection line, we are also there and strongly present into the market. Here a few recent reference about the whole complexes. I'm not going to show the individual list; it will be very big. But recent complex you can see in the core where we are. I mentioned about almost 2 million ton of the cold rolling complex. Metin West, we have another under but okay, this is in plan, so we just see how we are going to take up. Then Tascant, JSW, Herford, etc. We have like almost 20 cold rolling complexes since 2000, let's say like 2005. So almost every or alternate year, we are having at least one or two cold complex projects worldwide. Okay, just what I mentioned about the recent technology. So here we can find I just splitted this conversation into the four parts, and I would start with the of course from the pickling. So the first part is acid pickling, second is cold mill, and third is galvanizing, and fourth is color coating line. Here I would be mentioning just very quickly the topic and very brief detail about what we are doing and what kind of the benefits it will bring into the system. For more detail, I will be always available over phone on my email ID. You can write for any further clarification discussion you want. Here, this slide is highlighting about our journey where we started from 90. It's like this Stanley Win United, the business unit for the flat is like this business unit. We after merger and acquisition of Win and United started from 1992, and from there we have taken up the journey. And if you go into the pickling line past, then the old design was like the deep tank concept, and it was going well during the 60s, 70s, and late 70s. But but after directly coming to the picture, we started developing something more, and so we during 2000 onwards we launched the first generation of the turbo flow that is you can see here, and where we achieve up to 450 meter per minute of the pickling speed. That is the highest, I would say, in the world, which was like for the deep tank 250 to 300. Then going forward, now we have a second generation of the turbo flow, and where we are using artificial intelligence to further improve the product quality and also the operating cost. And that we started from, let's say, like from the last 3 4 projects. You can see that is 2050 onwards. And in bottom side of this slide, you can also see the references. Let's say like the main references where we have made something different than the past to highlight our credential. Just to talk about the pickling, what we are going to talk, what we have developed something new for the market, that is online scale fitness measurement, which we are doing. We are putting the sensor here just after the welder, which is going to make the thickness and let's say like quality test of the scale, and based on that we are developing the pickling process model. And this is for the, okay, it can be also a part of the push-pull pickling line, but this is for value added for the continuous pickling line with the high value basically. And this measurement and this concept is helping us to optimize the, let's say, like process parameter, along with also some feedback for the HSM in order to improve some of the process parameters for them to let's say like improve further the product quality, HR product quality. And in addition to that, we are also doing the hydrogen gas analysis in the tanks, where we have installed an analyzer which is telling us about the, let's say, like the presence of the hydrogen, which is further we are utilizing in real time to measure the overfitting inside the tank. And we have developed, considering this too, all the necessary models in the system, which is where you can see like we have automatic surface inspection after the pickling, which is linked with the pickling process models, and we are analyzing the scale characteristics here, and we are also linking this with the process parameter like phase acid solution refilling from ARP, then exhaust acid solution discharge to ARP. So we are utilizing all this information to make the entire process of the pickling section more efficient. It's more detail of what hydrogen is going to contribute. So you can see here the normal phenomena of the pickling. So we are having iron and we are putting acid for the cleaning, and iron chloride is coming out, and it's creating, let's say, generating hydrogen as a byproduct of this reaction. And this is what we desire. But if it is going to be very fast, let's say like a more hydrogen generation inside the tank, it means there is overpickling. And we have, let's say, like certain variables to form this algorithm, let's say like hypothesis or model in the pickling, and that we are playing with the sometime with the throughput, sometime with the speed, etc., just to achieve the right quality of the product. Just to see, we have the first installation also in Italy, and this slide is highlighting like the process. This process what we are using is like is the same like what we do the scale testing into the lab using those methods. So like for 8 micron of the oxide thickness with this instrument, we are getting almost 7.9, is very close to 8, and for a higher thickness is like the same. So it is justifying the reliability of this equipment. Another thing is like we utilize from it is again into the pickling tank. It's related to pickling, where we have used a new generation of the rolls at the entry and the exit of the tank to create the let's say like here you can see the new rolls, which is pushing the strip into the tank and keep the strip submerged. So we used, instead of our patented solution of the spray header that you can see here, it was earlier, and from there we moved to the new patented generation of the new generation of the turboflow tanks with the stick that you can see here. This is resulting further to improve the capacity reduction, OPEX reduction, and capex, because we remove the spray headers and we just put the simple rolls in the channel. And operating cost is also going down because it's improving the quality and other things. Safety increases, and also increase the overall efficiency of the process. There is another thought. What is like under patent, so it's better in basic depending. And what we did in the pickling, we are trying to put the induction heater. This is still something yet to be deployed into the plant. We are thinking to have an induction heater just before the pickling tank to increase the pickling temperature very quickly. Then hot water is spray header with the same purpose. And by doing that, we are in position to enable the pickling reaction. What I mentioned in the previous slide about iron plus HCl, FeCl2 plus S2. Just to make this reaction, we have to have certain temperature of the strip inside the solution. And earlier we were doing with the, of course, we are doing with the hot fluid, I will say, that is the HCl solution. So to just make that process faster, we introduced this induction heater before the pickling tank so that we can make the reaction very fast, and that results like up to 55 degree of temperature we can achieve with this technology, and the overall pickling productivity may increase like by 30 to 32%. That is what the beauty of this innovation. Another thing we have also developed in the pickling, that is for a very difficult grade like high silicon, manganese, and all those things we introduced, which demands very high pickling time. So what we did, we included the pickling booster, and that's what we did through the inclusion of additional spray nozzles. Here you can see at the later part of the pickling tanks to increase further the pickling ability, and of course eventually the chemical reaction what I mentioned again in the previous slide. This is for the special grades. For the cold, okay, it's a very long slide, but I will be going very fast. So the same thing is for the cold rolling mill, and for the cold rolling mill, when again we started our journey long back with the United legacy, and when we formed the new as a flat product business unit, and after that we have taken some things, and you can find the key milestone here. So we made like the Gen N, a 4 high 5-stand tandem mill. Here you can somewhere like 2000. Sorry, 1995. Then in 2000, we formed 2002 and 3 VSC 4i CRM again, which has been capability to roll up to 0.15 millimeter minimum thickness for through display. Then we going forward, we started from Sogwang 6i CRM, then 2-stand Marchigalia in Italy, and that is 2-stand. We come up with the Elbows technology, which is a technology where we are doing the strip threading even from in the first strand. In the closed gap of the CRM, which is helping us to improve the overall thing. Then we move going forward. We got another good installation in RVD where we installed 6i stand tandem mill, and that mill is also clubbed with pickling, and that is for automotive. And like you feel with the 6i 5-stand, and that like all the innovation, development, the technology, and everything, we move ahead with the very fast ramp up and commission this in the 4 months of the period, basically from let's say like all the ramp up and the rest of the contractual productivity. Then we move forward to Galdies, where we have all the let's say like network development and OSRT technology. OSRT stands for optimized silicon technology, and it is in Galdies in Turkey. Then that metal, and next which is Newcore, where we are going to implement all our recent development in the area. This is about our mill stand. You can see it's 6i mill stand, and it is top mounted HAGC, and it is like the design is like in the way like both control is made on the both rod and the both sides by servo boards, and the new software which has been developed by Dynamic Automation, our own sister company for the automation solution of all the projects we do under Dynamic Group. And the beauty of this design of the mill housing and the technology is like we have very low let's say like hysteresis due to virtue of the HAGC cylinder which we manufacture in our own factory in Nanaly, Thailand. And going forward, like high frequency response for the HAGC for the optimum load sensitivity control, which this again design and the accuracy of this machine, this cylinder along with the Dynamic Automation software is helping us to optimize the response time. It's very quick, so it is really helping us to achieve very tight thickness control tolerance, I would say. This is 4i and 6i comparison. I would not be spending much time, but I can say like on the achievement. Also the 6i, we have achieved like 96% of the strip during transient state up to 6i unit, and differences are of course known and available for any comparison if required. This is again a bit more detail about the work roll diameter versus separated code. It's again very much detailed, so I'll be trying to skip these slides also because I know I'm going to take long time. And then this is one of the very nice innovation by the which is under patent now, and this we call anti chattering device. It is installed with the e blocks of our cold mills, and this system is very fast and very reliable, and will be placed in the bending blocks. What I said, e blocks are bending blocks, what we call. And the system works with very high pressure oil impulse inside, and this is helping us to improve the productivity of. This is patented technology, what I mentioned. This is the yield boost I briefly mentioned during the Marshall where we implemented this first time, but now we have several references worldwide. And in that district setting, we can do into the close gap force basically, while we are threading the strip into the mill. Here you can see we can close the gap even from the strip entry, and when it's going to the second strand, again it is closed. So we first is like we can close the gap when we are going into this, and the second is also like earlier it was we are closing this mill when we are going into this, but we extended this development into this, and now we are giving this solution. For that we have installed like incoming strip measure profile. Here you can see the part. This is helping us to provide all the input characteristics of the HR files, and accordingly we are able to manage the gap closing of the mill strand for it. Then yeah, then going forward in after the fill boost and the close gap trading model, going ahead, I'll be highlighting a couple of innovation into the galvanizing. We have a lot of things to talk again into the galvanizing, but I will be a bit quick. So I will start with the long journey here you can see. So it is not now limited to let's say special kind of the metallic coating. So we have all aluminum, GI, GL, GI, GL, GF, means galvan, GI, GL again, GI, zinc, magnesium. So we have references and also the know-how for all kind of the metallic coating required into the market. Then just in below you can see we started like some creating some differences here, and this the color of this chart is highlighting the maximum processing speed. So that is another point which I would like to highlight. We achieved like up to 220 or 210. We can see the references for that. This is one thing in the galvanizing line, and the second thing is the coating uniformity is another we can see here. So we keep improving on the uniformity, and it is the bar always higher, and we are working up to 2 sigma level of the accuracy for the coating uniformity along with the polar air type division. And in the references, we can see some good names here again. So we are almost installed everywhere. Recently, we just commissioned the wood care switches here in Bangladesh, which is doing very nice. And this line is operating up to 210 mpm. And it is also like this project execution was very smooth, and the ramp up period was also very fast. A very just let's say like after a couple of days only they reached the maximum productivity, and they are continuous. The best part of our galvanizing line, I would say, is the single source solution for the complete design and supply. So irrespective of the mechanical, of course we have all the technological equipment in house, like skin fast mill, tension lever, or polar extrusion air knife for the controlling the coating. Then furnace for the process. This is again coming from Dali Central Combustion Furnace Division, which is located in Pune for Indian business. Then we have in-house journey automation. So from it's like from start to end, everything is coming from one umbrella for all the products. And the products what I mentioned about the technological products like skin fast, tension leveler, air knife, furnace. These are the products we don't only make for our lines. We also supply to the lines to the let's say like plant makers, other plant makers. It's not like only for dam. So we have also many installation in the plant supplied by others. Is a bit about Danish Central Combustion, our business units which looks after the reheating furnace and the process furnace. And they have the more than 40 vertical and horizontal galvanic furnaces and 15 furnaces in last 3 years. This is something big achievement for them. And the know-how is like 100% by them, and they are not on the equipment making. They have also their own research and development division into Genoa. The head office for the Danish Central Combustion in Genoa, where they are doing all the innovation and development related to the thermal engineering and the burners, and they are also into the level 2 furnace operation modeling, and also they are developing all the dynamic modeling to achieve the best performance of the furnace and the area of Industry 4.0, or let's say like artificial intelligence. Process data, we have all kind of the strip coating, what I mentioned also in the earlier slide, and they are capable to process all kind of the things. A small slide on the burner type. So we have ultra low NOx burners, which is helping us to improve of course the efficiency, and along with that they are also in position to take care the environment of course the environment, because we have like the 20% less NOx generation because of this design. Here is another innovation I will talk about. I will not talk about, but I will introduce, which is like what we are planning. This is a conventional cycle of the furnace, and we are having idea to introduce the induction heater in initial of the furnace, and this will help us to let's like very quickly raising the strip temperature, and after that we can follow all the soaking and other cycles, which is going to be same. So if you see here, for the reaching the temperature of 740 to 780, we were having like 70 to 90 seconds. Okay, it depends. But having the induction heater, we are raising this temperature very quickly and going up. And after that, we follow all the cycle what is already there, okay, to achieve the defined characteristic. This is like we are expediting the fast heating of induction heating and further reducing the capex and also the let's say like the productivity of the furnace. Maybe we can go even for the short furnace with a very high capacity. This is the induction heating technology which we are trying to build in the galvanizing. So depending on the rating of the furnace, we are able to design the rating of the inductor to raise the temperature. And the technology which we are using is longitudinal flux inductors, and that is like we are working below the fluid temperature. This is another rapid cooling system which is brought in like 15% of the energy saving by virtue of we just splitted, let's say like this cooling nozzles in the 5 parts. So if you have different bits, so we are different part of blower to part of opening to. If you are putting like it's like 1650, so everything will be open. If you're going for 1250, so in that case we will close the remaining part, and this is helping us to save the energy because we are not spraying any extra air or media on the strip or cooling. And this is designed for accuracy up to 2.5 plus and minus, and we have also stabilizing rule inside, so no fluttering inside the blower. And this is designed even to achieve let's say like 130 degrees centigrade per annum, like it's very, very high. This is a Danley Kohler air knife, so I will be again quick because most of you already knows about it, and I have already spoken in almost many of the conferences. I will past is already known to all the people who are in the industry. I will highlight like recent development here. So in 2009 we launched XZ. 17 we have the compact XZ. Compact XZ, why? Because the reference for the XZ polar air knife or Danley polar air knife is like 200 plus, whereas the galvanizing reference for Danley group is like close to 150. So where 50 numbers are installed. So those are again installed into the line supplied by them. And why we are forced to bring this compact XZ? Because we came up with many requirements from the industry who are having very compact, pot area, and we are not able to fit our XZ because it has very long nozzles which are throwing the air on the history to control the coating. So we came up with this result and we developed this compact XZ, which is like 100 millimeters smaller than the original XZ, without any compromise in the quality and the performance. And then in 2020, we developed Danley electromagnetic strip stabilizer, which is very interesting talk. But I will come into the next slide. Okay, what is special? Why like 50 more air knife is supplied to the line supplied by others? And the reason is here, because we are able to provide, let's like meet the customer and the market expectation. What customer are expecting? Our customer are expecting to save on the operating cost. That is, zinc is like one of the key element in the entire galvanizing line. And of course, this air knife is able to produce the best quality, and that is the reason it is like so demanding. And just here highlighting like, and the third part is also productivity. So like with this air knife is like 90 GSM we can achieve with 200 FPM, which is really impossible for others in the market. And minimum coating, which was if you go to the compare like 180 MPM, 120 GSM. So and the deviation of the coating uniformity is like 0.7% only. So like almost most of the time it is 1 GSM. Okay, going forward to the next slide. This is what the technology we utilize in this air knife. So what we did, we have just compared this innovation with cutting the piece of the meat by the sharp knife. The same concept, if you are using a sharp knife to cut the piece of the meat, the cutting process is going to be very smooth without any blunt edges. The same concept we have capitalized while we are developing this air knife. So we made the flow of air on the strip very sharp and very laminar in the characteristic, which result let's like less coating weight. Means okay, we can reduce the coating weight even at the higher speed and higher process speed because for the same coating. If there is same coating, we increase. Because you can see in the left side bottom, the red one is the XZ and the traditional air knife is the blue one. So where we have the sharper flow of air, and this sharper air is helping us to achieve all these benefits. And this happens because of the internal design of the air knife, which you can see in right side bottom picture here. This is like we made this internal design after making a lot of internal, it's like flow dynamic modeling inside the laboratory, and this even if I explain it like it is 3-chamber design inside. So we are taking the air here in the red part. After we have the calibration hole here, which air is going into the next chamber and expanding and removing all the turbulence from there. Going in the second state of the calibration, again expansion chamber where we are doing the same process by giving some more space to the air, and again set of the calibration hole here, which is further going to ensure the laminar flow of the air before going on to the stream. And if you see also this part is very long, the nozzle is also very long with a different pattern which we have developed to achieve the characteristic of the air, which is going to help us to achieve better coating control. And by doing that, what I mentioned about top two, the third is also less cleaning effort on the nozzle lips because less air, less turbulence, which create very less splashes around. Then less skipping because again with this design we reduce the pressure, working pressure along with the flow rate. So no excess air around the pot. So no less cross generation, less skipping eventually. Less flow, what I mentioned, less flow and less pressure results also saving because we need less power. Then fewer surface defect because of this characteristic of the air on the some achievement which we made in the past. So we achieved these are for GI coating, galvanizing coating. So only pure zinc coating. So Jet 40 we achieve 140. Okay, so our customer even claim higher, but we are at a bit conservative while we are declaring it. 50 GSM we are doing at 170, 80, 185, 90 at 120. A bit more slides on the accuracy. So the this if you operate to the manual mode, this is the accuracy we can operate from 0.7 in manual in this region, and 1.7 zero point 0.7 in the closed loop control in the red zone, and if you are out of that, then in the closed loop it is 1.4. For manual is definitely slightly higher. By the closed loop coating control itself, because all the actuation, whether it is a base baffle, vertical position, distance from the street, angle, all these things we are managing and controlling through our all the installed let's say like motor drives to achieve the best quality. And if you are going to offer closed loop control, you can find the difference here, manual versus the closed loop control. So eventually, by just capitalizing closed loop technology, we are able to save 5% in consumption, and we know very well the cost, the impact of the zinc in the galvanizing. Extension to that closed loop, we develop also the adaptive control coating model, which support again for high accuracy for gene coating control. So what we did, okay, we have cold coating case installed after the quenching area, and we are taking the feedback from that and made some modeling, and that is the adaptive modeling, which is further. If you see the physical length is very high, but we are able to somehow manage to achieve the target very quickly, less than the physical length of the machine. Again, some comparison on the on the open and the closed loop, which I already explained. So in the closed loop, we are like the standard deviation is even less than 1 GSM. This is the extension of the development of the analytic group, and that is the for the stabilizer unit which we installed in our air light. And the first installation prototype we made already in Russia, and one more plan. And the last after that we made the contract and execution of this stabilizer unit in one of the plants in Africa, the FASCO. And before going into that, just the comparison, what kind of a solution we have. We have two type of the solution. One is the standalone. So what it is fixed, we can install this stabilizer to the air knife, which is already existing without any change. We have to just put it on the top of the existing air knife. And if it is exact air knife, so it is very, very flexible. So you can install this any point of the time. Okay, then if we talk about the integrated solution, which is bit one advanced stage. So you can see the red one, which is going to be part of the air knife. So when we are going to buy new system, it is always like recommendable to have integrated air knife with the DS system, because this stabilizer is now very close to the air knife and very close to the pot level. This is even better to have the stabilizer in more stabilized and more control from there, because it is very close to the air knife also. This is the reference what I was mentioning about, which was installed in Pasco, Saldana in March 2021, and this is running very well, and all the performance guarantee results are achieved according to contract. And another is under construction, and it's going to be very soon installed in Avulkar in Bangladesh. Hopefully, maybe next 2 to 3 months it will be operational. Then more characteristics on this. How does it work? So it's already the topic which can be detailed discussed if somebody is more interested. So we adopt the combination, just to highlight, combination of AC and DC to achieve the better result, means to stabilize the strip inside the air knife, irrespective of what our competitor does. I'm very close to complete my slides. I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit long. Okay, just a few development into the color coating line, just to complete the package of the cold rolling complex, because I started from the pickling, went through the cold mill galvanizing, now it's back on the color coating line. So we are not like left behind into the color coating division also, and it is already known most of the people. We are directly Fata Hunter, the business unit which looks after the all color coating requirement for the global market. Fata Hunter is well known and he is like undisputed leader for the coated industry, color coated printed industry, pre-printed material, I will say, in this context. And they have all the patent about the coater design. So earlier the roll coater, what we see, which is available everywhere in the market, is like initially made by them and invented by them. And after that, when patent expired, everybody got it for general application. But still now we have the single slide design, which is another patent for the coating, which is different than the conventional coating design, which gives us a lot of saving on the paint. I am not going to talk much about that because it's something already known to many of you. So the new development in this area for the printed is like we are having. We started this pattern coating, what I have already shown into the previous slide. So here you can see like different pattern, which is even on the appliances you can find some more textures and all. So this is like earlier we had the installation driver offset printing technology. So where we have this configuration, and from where we started this evaluation, and we reached to the lexographic printing technology, which is already available into the paper industry. So we use this technology in the TDA plant. TDA plant is no longer in Vietnam, and now we recently developed we call technology for tomorrow. And you can see here, you can get all your textures, pattern, what you wish is up to you. You can make it over there by utilizing all the six digital inputs. It's like going to be the latest trend, and this is what we are offering to our customer. It will be very soon operational also in one of our plants. Is more detail how we are doing. So maybe I will be available for more detail on this topic. This is just shown the place and the application about that. So we are applying this all coating even after the finished coating. So once pre-printed steel is ready for the, let's say like to make as a finished product, on that if you need any kind of the pattern that can be done. And we, okay, of course we have all three technology, but this is the latest one what we are just recently developed, and we are at the verge of make it operational in one of the plants. Thank you so much. I am just at the completion of my presentation. If anybody has any question, I'm here to answer. And Nimlada, I'm really sorry. Maybe I am not respected. I'm the only one speaker who has not respected your schedule. But I hope it was good and very informative for the audience. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it is always good, Mitreshwar, when in fact you give a comprehensive, because the ultimate idea is to educate your end customer and also to educate the industry. And I found it very interesting, especially the way the printing industry has been integrated with the system. I find it an industry, and if going by my imagination, I could pre-paint anything on the sheet, right from Mickey Mouse to wild elephants. So everything
you imagine you will get on the street, steel street, not on the paper.
Excellent. And the same goes for the galvanizing lines as well. So I think it was a very comprehensive, well represented presentation of the entire flat portfolio, and both for cold rolling, color coating, galvanizing. I think it was a very comprehensive presentation, and I think since we had a considerably less number of panelists today, so you have also been able to do justice to the subject. It may have been a little longer, but I think it was interesting. So time doesn't count when you have an interesting portfolio to present. So with that, Mitreshwar, my special thanks to you, and also to all the panelists who spent time to address the webinar today, and also to our audience on YouTube as well as Zoom. And look forward to many more series of presentations in the flat segment, which we are planning in the days ahead, in the months ahead. And let me tell you that this year we are back to physical conferences again. So in November, we have the MITEC India. MITEC, as you know, is a global brand for exhibition in metallurgy throughout the world. And MITEC India is happening this year in November in the city of Mumbai, which is the commercial capital of India. So that will be for the 23rd, 24th, and 25th of November. So we look forward to participation of everyone at this mega event at NSE Goregaon in the city of Mumbai. And with that, may I request Ankit to just find out if there are any questions. Otherwise, you can go and propose a vote of thanks.
So I don't see any open question, but there are a few comments, I think. But yeah, I don't see any questions.
Yeah, whatever is there in the question and Q&A section, I think individual panelists can take the option if they want to answer the questions. Otherwise, Ankit, you can go ahead with the vote of thanks.
So so thank you. I would like to thank all the panelists for deliberating on such vital topics today and providing such a vibrant exchange of ideas. Thanks as well to all the attendees who joined us through Zoom as well as watching on our live stream on YouTube. My heartfelt gratitude goes out to our gold sponsors, JSW Coated Products and Novacell, and our silver sponsor, Max Motion, for making this webinar a success. Last but not the least, thanks to the Steel and Metallurgy team for working endlessly for making this event possible. Today was our 46th webinar since the pandemic began and pushed us towards this new normal format of collaboration. And we look forward to seeing you all in many more webinars to come. With that, I would like to conclude today's meeting. Thank you all very much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jai Hind. And thank you, Mr. Kambos. Thank you, Mithileshwar. Thank you, Mr. Garg. Thanks to all the panelists. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Bye, bye. Have a nice day.
Yeah, bye. You too. Yeah, have a nice weekend. Have an excellent weekend. Thank you.